2009 Sheffield Arena, and I am 19. I am entranced as Bob Dylan finishes the last notes of the encore. Blown in the wind, he's treating us. The audience roars its appreciation. Thank you, friends. His eyes remain hidden under his hat. Very kind of you. And then he goes. And it is the first and last time Dylan has addressed us all night. And I was told later this was him in a chatty mood. Now, don't get me wrong, I left the arena on a high. I was 19, I'd witnessed a living legend, a hero of mine in the flesh. We had shared the same room alongside thousands of others, but who's counting? But did I feel any closer to Dylan, the man? I wasn't sure. And I had a similar experience 16 years later, watching the latest musical biopic offering a complete unknown. So the film opens in 1961 in New York. There are no flashcards, no explanations. Dylan's presence is enough. I think a backstory would be fairly impossible anyway. As Dylan states later in the film, people make up their past, they remember what they want, they forget the rest. Now, Dylan is notorious for avoiding his past or telling it. He tells it in riddles if he does ever talk about his past. And I guess that was the first hurdle in this biopic to try and get over. But Dylan is a by-the-moment kind of man, and this film certainly reflects that. It's by the moment. We get the passing of time through world events in the form of various newsreels. The Cuban Missile Crisis, the shooting of JFK, race riots, and this really frustrating thing. They also have just a quick newsreel of the March on Washington, and it really frustrated me because Dylan was, of course, part of that. He performed at it. But then on reflection, the film is so quietly reserved that it seems something so monumental in the film would be jarring to the rest of the narrative. It's a bit of a juxtaposition, but the whole screenplay is quietly explosive, which is very much like its subject matter, I suppose. Speaking of which, it is a challenge to portray Dylan without going into a ridiculous husky parody. Sorry, really bad. But Timothée Chalamet is fantastic. He's, I think, my new favourite actor. I no doubt he'd bring, a fresh take to the role and authentic. I first saw him, I think, in Beautiful Boy a few years ago. And he was fabulous in that, and now he's gone on to be in Wonka, in all the Dune films, etc. And it's quite refreshing that his talent lives up to his popularity. And there's lots of gossip surrounding the Kardashians and who he's dating, etc. But I think it's quite a nice thought that maybe some new Dylan fans were made who went to watch this, famous actor and came out hopefully inspired by Dylan and his genius. Elle Fanning is soft and competent as Sylvie Russer, I think they call her in that. It's obviously based on Susie Rotello, but who was Dylan's partner and shared the album sleeve, for the freewheeling Bob Dylan. But director James Mangold said that Bob had expressed to him that she was not a public person. She passed away a few years ago. So hence the name change. Monica Barbero, is that how you say it? Sorry, is excellent as Joan Baez. She looks so much like her, but it's the depth of both her speaking and her singing voice which really sets her apart. All the vocals are performed by the actors, and they're really solid, really strong. Edward Norton was really impressive. In fact, it took me a moment to realise it was Edward Norton. He plays Pete Seeger wonderfully. He's the steady heartbeat of the film. So whilst we explore Dylan's many changes, both personally and creatively, Seeger is reliably the same and brings the softer side out to Dylan's persona. In terms of getting to Dylan's true personality, if that's possible, I think the earlier biopic, I'm Not There, is a more fitting tribute. It used Dylan's chameleon-like mystique to its advantage by having 6 actors portray the Dylan figure. I don't think he's ever referred to as Bob Dylan in the film, but it has a diverse group of actors, portraying various stages of Dylan's life. And as for A Complete Unknown, I really enjoyed the film. I'm a big Dylan fan. I watched it with my mum, who enjoys Dylan but isn't necessarily a big fan, and she didn't enjoy it as much, which was interesting. I think we might learn more about Bob Dylan, but in terms of discovering the real Robert Zimmerman, I don't think so. But nor should we ever expect to. I think he will always be a mysterious figure, but I think the film does show his genius in his poetry, his lyrics, his music. So I recommend it. It's available to stream on Disney Plus. So let me know what you think. Did you enjoy the film? Have you seen I'm Not There? Let me know. Take care. Bye.